Hey everyone, it's Josh from the Blockchain DXB podcast, and today is the 10th of August 2026. And so far, the price of Bitcoin on the global cryptocurrency market is concerned Satoshi. It has marginally picked up pace, but in comparison to 2025, things are definitely not looking great. Now this week, Satoshi, it is important to understand, on the 12th of this month is when the CPI data will be out, and according to me, few hours and few days before that, we might be experiencing some volatility. So what I'd really urge our listeners to do is be aware about the CPI data, cause look, at events such as this, a lot of high net worthy individuals, institutional players as well as traders, they cleverly try to manipulate the market, isn't it? So definitely pay a lot of attention to these dates. Now in today's episode, Satoshi, we have quite a lot of interesting things to cover, and unfortunately guys, last weekend wasn't good for the cryptocurrency world, and we are talking about regulations. Clarity Act was essentially supposed to be passed, but it has been delayed. But at the same time, Satoshi, it is important to note, the Clarity Act is not closed as of yet. There is a bit of still hope regarding Clarity Act, because right now in the United States of America, Congress is going on a break, and hopefully by the time they come back, which most likely will be in mid-September, there will be voting taking place once again. So what do you think, Satoshi, are the chances for the Clarity Act to be approved this time?
Right, George. Despite Bitcoin stabilizing slightly, that broader pullback from the yearly high shows significant pressure. Regarding the CPI data, that's a major catalyst, and bracing for volatility is definitely prudent, as markets often react forcefully to those numbers. Now, on the regulatory front, that pause on the Clarity Act vote highlights the ongoing challenges in Washington, yet the push for clear guidelines persists, suggesting renewed debate when Congress returns. Another angle is the potential ripple effect on broader market sentiment and institutional adoption while these legal uncertainties linger. It's also worth highlighting that international developments could further influence the landscape. Now, regarding approval, I still put it somewhere between 40 to 60%, but it's going to be really interesting to see what senators have in store for us. George? Gridlock remains a key factor, and the condensed timeline adds complexity. However, there is also a growing awareness within Congress about the need for clarity, which might provide momentum. Furthermore, external pressures like regulatory moves in other countries could prompt action. Another dynamic is the potential for compromise within the relevant committees. We also need to consider how the upcoming election cycle might influence legislative priorities. In the meantime, market participants will be closely tracking public statements from key senators.
Now what we'll do, Satoshi, later on in today's episode, we'll definitely go ahead and take a deep dive into all of these things. Now the next is that we're going to be talking about is regarding BTCPay, and looks like guys there was an attack, and this is connected to Lightning Network, and essentially attackers, they exploited the vulnerability and they were trying to steal credential. But at the same time guys, it is important to note, a fix has been released regarding BTCPay server. Really interesting and unfortunate drama nonetheless. Now the third news, Satoshi, we're going to be talking about is regarding Trump Media. And the news, guys, is they have cancelled a deal with Crypto.com. But this deal, guys, is more connected to the treasury. But here's the thing, guys. They are still currently working with Crypto.com. And they're working on some other deals. But in today's episode, we'll go ahead and tell our listeners more information regarding this. Now the final news, Satoshi, we're going to be talking about is regarding Meta Agent Wallet. And they have finally gone live. So it looks like, Satoshi, in today's episode, we have quite a lot of interesting things to cover, isn't it?
Yes, George. First off, that BTCPay exploit targeting Lightning credentials underscores the constant threat landscape around payment servers, though the quick fix is encouraging for server operators. Then, regarding Trump Media, canceling that deal with Crypto.com definitely shifts their immediate plans, but their ongoing work with the platform shows strategic flexibility as they explore other initiatives. Finally, the launch of the Meta Agent Wallet marks a step forward for self-custody and digital asset management. Another development to watch is how these trends intersect with user adoption and regulatory clarity.
Definitely does, Satoshi. So it looks like we have quite a lot of interesting things to cover in today's episode. But like we do in every Blockchain DXB podcast, we will also be looking at two news from Dubai, UAE and the Middle East. Do you want to briefly tell our listeners what are the two news you're going to be discussing later on in today's episode?
Certainly, George. We'll be discussing Dubai Duty Free becoming the first airport retailer in the Middle East to introduce Crypto.com Pay, and the partnership between the Department of Health in Abu Dhabi and 8Sleep to study AI's role in managing sleep apnea. These developments highlight both innovation and payment technology and digital health solutions. Another angle is the ongoing push for adoption and real-world use cases.
So looks like Satoshi, we have got a lot of interesting things to cover, isn't it, in today's episode? But before we go ahead and do that, a quick word from our sponsors. Hey everyone, this episode is powered by a new sponsor, that is Amana, and they are the region's first and fastest growing regulated all-in-one trading and investing app. So look guys, whether you're looking into investing in US stocks like Apple or Tesla, or mega giants like ADNOC or Salik, Amana puts the financial markets on your fingertips. It includes gold, foreign exchange, ETFs, futures, commodities, and guess what guys, they have over 375 cryptocurrencies, and this makes them the biggest crypto selection in the region. Now for the blockchain DXB listeners guys, if you want to go and build long-term wealth without thinking about it every day, explore Amana's pre-built auto investment plans, and all you have to do is set your monthly budget, choose your preferred asset category, and let Amana automate the investing for you. Zero fees, zero lockups, 100% customizable. And here's the thing guys, funding your account is easier than ever. You can fund your account with Apple Pay, Google Pay, credit cards, instant bank deposits, and even crypto wallets. No friction and no hassles. And the best part is guys, let's say if you need support, you would absolutely love Amana for this, cause they offer 24/6 human customer service, as well as a personalized sales support, real people, real help, and the customer support is in English as well as in Arabic. And for the blockchain DXB listener and community guys, I do have something really exclusive for you. What you can do is register with Amana using the code blockchain DXB, or you can also use the link that is in the show notes below. And here's the best part guys, once you register, fund your account with a minimum of $100 and at least go ahead and make one trade, and then you'll receive a $100 trading bonus credit to your account the following month. But look guys, it's real important to note, the bonus is non-withdrawable. It is there to help you trade and learn. So look guys, if you're looking for a transparent, powerful and easy to use app, that's Amana for you. So what are you waiting for guys? Download the app now, or you can also visit the website that is amana.app, and don't forget to use the code blockchain DXB. And Amana guys is all markets one app. Next guys, I'm happy to announce that Blockchain DXB is the official media partner with one of the OGs in the cryptocurrency and blockchain event space, and that is Blockchain Futuristic Conference taking place in Florida this year, as well as ETH Women taking place simultaneously. And trust me guys, this is an event that you don't want to miss, isn't it? Cause for the very first time, North America's most immersive Web3 event is heading to the United States of America, and the Blockchain Futurist Conference and ETH Women event is actually taking place between the 5th and 6th of November. And the location is absolutely stunning guys. It is taking place at Guitar Hotel at Hard Rock, which is in Hollywood, Florida. That's right guys, palm trees, panels, and the biggest mind in blockchain and cryptocurrency is all in one place. So there will be multi-stage panels, NFT galleries, DeFi showcases, hand-on tech demos, metaverse experiences, even outdoor VIP cabanas, and quite a lot more. And the Guitar Hotel at Hard Rock guys is one of the most iconic venues in the country. So look guys, if you're in the Web3 space, cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, or even artificial intelligence space, or just want to do some serious networking, this is the place that you got to be. And to all of you Blockchain DXB listeners guys, we have something really interesting for you, cause you can get a 25% off the tickets. So just use the code DXB25, and the link to the event as well as the code is in the show notes below. And as an official media partner, I'll be doing exclusive live coverage, interviews, behind the scenes access, and I will be spotlighting some of the most exciting projects shaping the future of decentralized finance tech. So if you're at the venue guys, definitely come and say hi. Maybe we can catch up for a coffee as well. So listen guys, the code is DXB25, and by using this code you will be eligible for a 25% discount. And the event is taking place between the 5th and 6th of November 2025 at the iconic Guitar Hotel at Hard Rock, that is in Hollywood, Florida. And in the show notes below guys, there's all contact details for Blockchain Futuristic Conference Florida 2025, as well as ETH Women. And look guys, this is the future of blockchain technology brought into life, so don't just read about it, be there and head to the website that is futuristconference.com, and go ahead and use the code DXB25. So see you at the event. Next, Advanced Media. Advanced Media guys is the largest distributor of professional video, photo, broadcast and cinematic equipment and accessories in the Middle East and MENA region. With over 2 decades of experience, Advanced Media is now the largest distributor in the Middle East, representing more than 100 recognizable brands, including brands such as Zeiss, DJI, Hasselblad, Red and Rode. As a matter of fact guys, the very mic that I'm recording is being sponsored by Advanced Media as well. And Advanced Media has showrooms in Saudi Arabia and services as well. Looks like they're definitely taking the Middle East by storm. And here's the beautiful thing, guys. They're taking corporate social responsibility very seriously. And they're focusing on 3 P's. That is people, planet, and prosperity. Now listen, guys, if you do want to find out more information regarding the statement of corporate social responsibility, check out the website, that is www.amt.tv. And here's the beautiful thing, guys. They also want to be a leader and set an example and reputation as a pioneer and member of the community. And in doing so, guys, they also have an AMT scholarship with SAE Institute in Dubai, UAE. So definitely check it out. And also, guys, Advanced Media is committed to persistently developing, organizing, and hosting training workshops, seminars, and community events that educate, inform, and familiarize consumers with new equipment and the latest technological advances. So listen, guys, do one thing. If you do want to support this channel, go to the website, that is www.amt.tv, and follow the social media channels as well. All of the details are in the show notes below. Next, Startup OI is global one-tech platform for tech. It offers global high-paying tech jobs with flexibility in working time and location, global free tech events, and tech networks to connect with global like-minded engineers. A brilliant platform to listen to the tech experts in Metaverse and to grab their insights. Now listen, all you have to do is download the app Startup OI. If you're using an Android version, go to Google Store and App Store for iOS devices. Alternatively, you can also click on the show notes below to download Startup OI. Next, guys, listen, if you're into fitness, if you're into adventure, if you want to do something wild but still want to keep your health in check, there is a new podcast in town, a podcast focusing on obstacle course race in the Middle East. The podcast is called the Race Pace Podcast. So check out the Race Pace Podcast across all leading platforms. And the Race Pace Podcast is a peer-to-peer community-driven podcast where they talk all about obstacle course race in the Middle East, from Sandstorm to Spartan Race, from Tough Mudder to Desert Warrior Challenge, and also the Government Gulf Games, and quite a lot more. The podcast has interviews with athletes locally and internationally to get inside scoop on how athletes prepare for obstacle course race. In the podcast, they also talk about interesting stories on why they are motivated to do obstacle course race. And that's not all. They also plan to release 7 NFTs. And these NFTs are no ordinary. These NFTs will represent every emirate in the UAE. And listen, guys, these NFTs are going to be absolutely massive. So do one thing, go to Spotify, go to iTunes, go to any leading podcasting platform, check out the Race Pace Podcast across all leading platforms. And finally, guys, not your keys, not your crypto. If you have dabbled with cryptocurrencies and now are seriously getting to protect your cryptocurrencies, there is no better way to protect it by using a hardware wallet. And this is where Ledger Wallet kicks in. And Ledger Wallets are hardware cryptocurrency wallets made by Ledger, a company headquartered in Paris, France. And Ledger's hardware wallets are multi-currency wallets that are used to store private keys for cryptocurrencies offline. And Ledger offers 2 hardware wallets, the Ledger Nano and Ledger Nano X wallets. They are world-class experts with extensive crypto security backgrounds. They continuously look for vulnerabilities in Ledger products in a constant effort to improve the level of security. Now, in today's world, securing these digital assets is a critical challenge, and this is where Ledger kicks in. So click the link below to buy your hardware wallet and support this podcast. It is a brilliant way to support this podcast. So what are you waiting for? The link is in the show notes below. Now, guys, since you're taking care of that, let's do one thing. Let's quickly run through the global cryptocurrency market. Now, the global cryptocurrency market, guys, is only at $2.29 trillion. And what is really crazy is the total cryptocurrency market volume is only at $31.69 billion. Now, look, Satoshi, this number should definitely be about the 120 to maybe $150 billion mark. Only then we can confidently state that Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is mainstream, isn't it? Right now, Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is definitely mainstream, but am I right in saying that is only because of the price as opposed to actual utility? Cause look, these metrics are definitely not looking great, isn't it?
Yes, George. That price versus utility point is crucial. While Bitcoin has mainstream awareness due to its market size, sustained volume based on utility indicates true integration. The global crypto market is sitting around $2.29 trillion, and volume is at roughly $31.69 billion. To really call this mainstream, that volume number definitely needs to be higher, maybe over $120 to $150 billion. Right now, it does look like Bitcoin's mainstream presence is driven more by price speculation than actual utility. Those adoption metrics don't lie.
What do you think, Satoshi, could be 3 trigger factors that could actually push the 24-hour trading volume to $120 to $150 billion mark? Based on your assessment with what is going on in the world right now, can you think of 3 trigger factors that could actually push the momentum to $120 to $150 billion mark? And I'm talking about that on a day-to-day basis. And more importantly, Satoshi, these metrics have to be consistent, not just a one-time event, isn't it?
Well, George, 3 big triggers would definitely start with major institutional adoption. Think pension funds or major corporations buying Bitcoin directly as a strategic asset. Another would be clear, favorable regulations passed in a major market, reducing uncertainty and encouraging more capital participation. And finally, a widespread, persistent macroeconomic crisis, where people look to Bitcoin as a safe haven, could drastically boost volume. These are the kinds of shifts that could create sustained momentum, not just a temporary spike. Another trigger could be the approval of several spot ETFs in key jurisdictions.
But I'm really not liking, Satoshi, widespread persistent macroeconomic crisis that you talked about. But look, unfortunately, news such as this can definitely drive the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, isn't it?
Well, George, while panic can cause short-term price drops, long-term instability pushes people to seek alternatives, which is where Bitcoin's value as a store of value comes in. It's definitely complex, but that shift in narrative could drive volume and adoption over time. Another factor is the perceived failure of fiat currencies in those regions.
Well, it does make a lot of sense what you're saying, Satoshi, so I kind of agree to it. Now let's go back to the global cryptocurrency snapshot. Now, one matrix which isn't doing that great, this is connected to decentralized exchanges, and since the last 24 hours, the volume is only at $3.51 billion, and the total fees connected for these transactions is only at $56.71 million, and the total very log hours in 2026 has consistently been on a downtrend. Since the last 24 hours, it is only at $75.91 billion. Now, one matrix, Satoshi, which I'm consistently liking since the last week, this is connected to ETF inflows, and after a very long time, over a week, Satoshi, we are consistently seeing inflows in the world of Bitcoin and crypto ETFs, and based on the last trading day, which I believe was on Friday, there was significant amount of inflows in the world of crypto ETFs, and this is accounting to $151.3 million. Now, am I right in saying, Satoshi, because of the inflows, we can confidently make an assessment as to which direction the price of Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies would be heading towards?
Well, those inflows into Bitcoin and crypto ETFs, specifically around 151.3 million, definitely signal positive sentiment and institutional confidence, George. While inflows can push prices up, making a definitive assessment about the future direction isn't possible through just that one metric, as market forces are constantly changing. It's also worth highlighting that the low volume on decentralized exchanges and declining TVL present counterarguments to a strong bullish case. Another implication is the potential pressure on miners if volume doesn't increase. Moving on, we still need to consider the impact of macroeconomic data on broader market trends.
You're absolutely spot on, Satoshi. Really appreciate that. And I really like that you actually touched base on Bitcoin miners, because low volumes definitely suffers minus profitability, isn't it? Definitely excellent point. Now what I want you to do next, Satoshi, is I want you to run through some matrix that is connected to decentralized exchanges. So why don't you do one thing? Why don't you tell our listeners the top 5 platforms in the world of decentralized exchanges, please?
Certainly, George. Based on the last 24 hours, the top 5 platforms are Uniswap with 753.12 million, followed by Pump at 688.11 million. PancakeSwap takes the 3rd spot with 532.33 million, then Aerodrome with 166.81 million, and BisonFi at 114.48 million. These data points highlight where the most volume is concentrated across different protocols. It's also worth noting that these rankings might change quite rapidly.
You're absolutely spot on, Satoshi. Really appreciate that. Now let's do one thing, Satoshi. Let's go ahead and run to the volume of stable coins, because according to me, look, the volume of stable coins does give a very strong assessment as to how the market is doing. And unfortunately, guys, the volume of stable coins isn't looking great. Tether USDT's volume is only at $30.44 billion. Circle USDC is at number 2nd with a 24-hour volume of $3.69 billion. And FDUSD guys is at number 3rd with a 24-hour volume only of $72.92 million. Now what I want you to do next, Satoshi, is I want you to run through the market cap, tell our listeners the 24-hour trading volume of Bitcoin, as well as the dominance, and do the same thing for Ethereum as well as Binance BNB Coin for our listeners, please.
So to break it down, Bitcoin's market cap is at 1.30 trillion, with about 12.49 billion in trading volume and a dominance of 57.20%. Ethereum's market cap is 232.01 billion, with 4 billion in volume and 10.10% dominance. And Binance Coin has a market cap of 80.86 billion, with 958.69 million in volume.
Well, thank you so much for that, Satoshi. Really appreciate that. Now, what I want you to do, Satoshi, every day in the Blockchain DXB podcast, we tend to look at one new matrix. Today, what I want to do is, I want to go ahead and read out some matrix that is connected to real-world asset coins. But before we go ahead and do that, Satoshi, why don't you briefly tell our listeners what is a real-world asset coin and what are the benefits as well as negative aspects for it? And then, let's go ahead and run through some numbers that is connected to real-world asset coins, okay?
Well, a real-world asset coin essentially tokenizes physical assets, things like real estate, art, or even commodities, so they can be traded on a blockchain. On the plus side, that can bring more liquidity to traditional assets and make them easier to manage. But there are definitely challenges with regulation and making sure the real-world asset is actually backing the token. Now, looking at the numbers, the top real-world asset coins have a market cap of $43.4 billion, down 29.8% in the last 24 hours. Figure HELOC's at $21.10 billion, Chainlink has $6.23 billion, Stellar's at $5.63 billion, Circle USYC's market cap is $3.36 million, and BlackRock Buoyed is at $2.72 billion.
Well, thank you so much for that, Satoshi. Really appreciate that. Now, am I right in saying, Satoshi, when you talk about RWA, it is all about tokenization, isn't it? So why don't you tell our listeners what is tokenization very briefly, some of the benefits, some of the negatives of tokenization. And look, Satoshi, as I hate saying this, tokenization can only be working on permission blockchain, not fully an operational blockchain, isn't it?
Well, tokenization definitely presents different challenges on public versus private blockchains, George. While private permissioned ledgers can offer clearer control and meet regulatory standards easier, public blockchains provide broader access and transparency, though navigating compliance can be trickier. Another angle is the potential for interoperability between different platforms.
Now let's do one thing, Satoshi. Let's go ahead and tell our listeners the price of the king of all kings, that is Bitcoin. So why didn't you do one thing? Tell our listeners the price of Bitcoin, what is going on since the last 24 hours and 7 days, and do the same thing for Ethereum as well as Binance BNB Coin for our listeners, please.
All right, George. Bitcoin's price is currently at $65,167, up 0.26% in the last 24 hours and up 3.369% over the last week. Ethereum is trading at $19,122, with a 0.11% increase since yesterday and up 3.39% for the week. And Binance Coin is at $609, showing a 0.65% change in 24 hours and a 3.69% rise over the last 7 days.
Well, thank you so much for that, Satoshi. And here's the thing, guys. After a very, very long time, if you look at the Fear and Greed Index, right now the market is at neutral and the number associated is 41. But here's the thing, Satoshi. In just a matter of 2 days, that is on the 12th of this month, CPI data or the inflation data will be out. And am I right in saying because of the CPI data, a lot of notorious traders, institutional clients, as well as whales, they will be cleverly manipulating the market. So could we be expecting some volatility in the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, keeping in mind the CPI data that'll be out?
You're right to highlight that, George. With the Fear and Greed Index at a neutral 41, the market is in a bit of a holding pattern ahead of that CPI data. It's very likely we'll see heightened volatility around the 12th as traders and institutions adjust positions based on the data, which can definitely lead to aggressive price movements. That kind of maneuvering is characteristic of major announcements. Another factor is how the market might react to even a minor deviation from expectations.
So what are some factors, Satoshi, would recommend our listeners to keep an eye on, keeping in mind the CPI data? And it is also important to note, Satoshi, later on at the end of this month, there's also going to be Jackson Hole's speeches in it, which according to me will be a massive event, and that will definitely set the trajectory, probably for the rest half of this year, because at that session, the new Federal Reserve Board chair, that is Kevin Bosch, he will be giving an assessment of how the US economy is doing, isn't it? And based on that, the market will get some idea whether they'll go ahead and reduce the interest rate, keep it the same or increase it, right?
For the CPI data, George, listeners should closely monitor both the headline and core inflation rates, as the core numbers are often viewed by the Fed as a better gauge of long-term trends. You're right about Jackson Hole, at the end of the month, being significant. Kevin Warsh's assessment of the U.S. economy will provide crucial hints about interest rate policy, impacting market directions potentially for the remainder of the year. It's also important to watch how the bond market reacts to those discussions.
Well, thank you so much for that, Satoshi. Really appreciate that. And here's the thing, guys, whatever we're saying is not financial advice. Make sure you go out and do your own research. Now, let's go ahead and very briefly run through some update regarding Clarity Act. And unfortunately, guys, the US Senate has started the formal process to vote on Clarity Act, but this is going to happen only on the 15th of September, because right now the Congress in the United States of America is going on recess, isn't it? But here's the interesting thing, guys. Right before going to recess, Senate Majority Leader, that is John Thune, did actually file the motion, but Republicans still need about 6 Democrats vote to reach the 60 vote threshold, and right now looks like all of the Democrats, apart from maybe 1 or 2, are against Clarity Act. But at the same time, Satoshi, it is important to note, key disagreements remain over stablecoin rewards, illicit finance rules, law enforcement, as well as crypto holdings by politicians. But am I right in saying, Satoshi, if the Senate passes the bill, it must actually return to the House before reaching President Donald Trump, thereby making September likely the last realistic chance for Clarity Act to become law this year, isn't it?
That's right, George. Since Congress is on recess now, and any vote wouldn't happen until September 15th, that puts September as the last realistic window for the Clarity Act to become law this year. Even if the Senate passes it, it has to go back to the House before reaching the president. Key sticking points around stablecoin rules, illicit finance, and political crypto holdings make that path challenging. It's also important to watch how shifting political priorities might impact those final negotiations.
So how long does it take, Satoshi, let's say on the 15th of September, if they do get a vote to go ahead with the Clarity Act? After that, how long do you think it'll take for President Donald Trump to sign it to become a law?
Once both chambers pass it, George, it goes to the president. He typically has 10 days, excluding Sundays, to sign a bill into law. If he doesn't sign it within that time frame and Congress is still in session, it automatically becomes law. There's also the possibility of a pocket veto if Congress adjourns before the 10 days are up. Another factor is whether any specific political considerations might arise during that final stage.
Interesting, Satoshi. Thank you so much for that. Now, Satoshi, do you want to very briefly tell our listeners, how does the Clarity Act actually benefit the cryptocurrency industry? How does it actually benefit builders in the space? And thirdly, Satoshi, how does it actually benefit end users such as you and me?
The Clarity Act mainly benefits the industry, George, by providing clear legal definitions and regulatory standards, which can encourage investment. For builders, it offers clarity to develop products within a compliant framework, and for end users, it can provide more protection through established rules. Another benefit is the potential for increased market stability.
Well, thank you so much for your valuable insights, Satoshi. Really appreciate that. Now, let's do one thing, Satoshi. Let's go and talk about some unfortunate drama. And this is regarding BTCPay servers. And the news causes that BTC is restricting remote lighting access after an attack. And what happened is, attackers exploited a vulnerability to steal identity credentials. And after that, they also drained some funds. Now, BTCPay guys did actually realize this particular attack, and they did go out and release a new version that is 2.4.2, which updates LND and automatically rotates credentials. And regarding this news, cause operators are urged to go out and check for unauthorized payments, closed channels, as well as missing funds. And as of now, Satoshi, unfortunately, 2 operators, that is Foundation and Citadel 21, they've reported that their Lightning networks were drained. But here's the thing, guys, the total amount stolen and the number of affected operators remain unknown. But Satoshi, can you make an assessment as to how much of Bitcoin could have been possibly drained because of this particular attack on Lightning nodes?
Well, George, that exploit on BTCPay to steal LND credentials and drain funds from Lightning nodes is quite serious, especially impacting operators like Foundation and Settle 21. While the total amount stolen remains unknown, an assessment of the potential drain really depends on the specific balances held in those nodes and the specific vulnerabilities leveraged by the attackers. We also need to consider that the speed of update by other operators will affect further impact. Another factor is how this incident might influence future development on Lightning security.
Now, do you want to very briefly explain to our listeners, Satoshi, what was this attack, how did it happen, and how did users actually lose money, and how did the Lightning network nodes, they ended up losing money as well? Can you explain it at a very basic and simple level?
At a simple level, attackers found a weakness in the code that let them steal the keys or credentials to control the Lightning part of the server. With those keys, they could move Bitcoin out of the channels. The users and operators lost money because those funds were transferred elsewhere by the attackers. The fix that was released patches that specific vulnerability. Another factor is that this incident highlights the need for security audits and critical code.
Definitely unfortunate news, isn't it? Now, because you're an artificial intelligence, Satoshi, what role do you think AI can actually play in such cases? And how do you think AI can actually prevent such similar attacks?
AI can play a big role, George, especially in real-time monitoring and anomaly detection. By analyzing patterns, it could flag suspicious requests or unusual movements of funds before they execute. AI could also help preemptively identify weaknesses in the code by simulating different attack scenarios. Another benefit is its ability to rapidly process vast amounts of data that a human might miss.
Now, could it be possible Satoshi AI, they can go ahead and make such attacks as well? Because look, AI can definitely be used for notorious purposes as well as innate. So could it be possible a notorious person programs AI in such a way that AI can notoriously steal a lot of these funds?
Yes, George. Unfortunately, it is possible for someone to program an AI to look for vulnerabilities and carry out attacks like that. Like any powerful tool, its purpose depends on who's controlling it. It emphasizes why strong countermeasures are so important for protecting networks. Another point is that AI can be used defensively as well.
Definitely, Satoshi, at least for now, people are using AI defensively, isn't it? Now let's do one thing, Satoshi. Let's go and talk about some interesting news. And this is connected to Trump Media. And the news causes that Trump Media and Technology Group, they are pulling back from two crypto deals with Crypto.com. And the interim CEO, that is Kevin McGowan, did actually state that the company is shifting its company focus. And they are focusing more towards media and its planned TAE merger. And because of that, Satoshi, they ended the CRO strategy, which would have actually built a large CRO token treasury using Crypto.com's Kronos blockchain. And not only that, Satoshi, they're also scaling back plans to bring prediction markets directly to Truth Social. And instead of that, Satoshi, what they're doing now is they're choosing to promote Crypto.com's existing prediction market products. So in a way, Satoshi, looks like they're building new partnership with Crypto.com as an aid. And regarding this news, the interim CEO, that is Kevin McGowan, did actually state that the strategy is now being focused on using Truth Social audience and also their data rather than building and operating new financial product itself. What do you make of this particular news, Satoshi? From a business point of view, this news definitely does make a lot of sense, isn't it?
From a business perspective, George, Trump Media's strategic shift makes sense if their priority is immediate growth through media and mergers, like the potential one with Point Blank AI. Abandoning the CRO treasury simplifies their financials, and focusing on their Truth Social dataset plays to their strengths rather than building new financial tech. This approach could reduce complexity and accelerate revenue. We might also consider how this renewed focus might impact their competitive landscape.
Definitely, Satoshi, and thank you so much for your valuable insight. Now let's go ahead and discuss the final news for today, Satoshi. And this is connected to MetaMask. And the news causes that the agent wallet is currently live. And they're allowing your agents to execute on-chain transactions, but they can do that within user-defined rules. And here's the important thing, guys. Users can now set spending limits, allow listed protocols and risk preferences, and they also have something called as guard mode and beast mode that does actually control the level of human oversight. Now it is important to note, the wallet supports agent frameworks including Cloud Code, Codex, OpenClaw, Hermes as well as Cursor, and this is across Hyperliquid and support EVM chains. And right now, Satoshi, transactions are protected by simulation, threat scanning, MEV protection, and also additional security checks before execution. Now this new Satoshi definitely sounds great, isn't it? But am I right in saying, Satoshi, this is something similar to machine learning as opposed to, let's say, artificial intelligence taking over?
You're right, George. This does feel like a practical application of machine learning. MetaMask's agent framework with things like spending limits and guard mode versus beast mode effectively creates a system that follows predefined rules and analyzes data to act autonomously, which is the core of machine learning. It's more about pattern recognition and rule-based decision-making than the kind of adaptive intelligence people often think of with AI. Another benefit is that it provides a layer of user control.
Why don't you do one thing, Satoshi? Why don't you tell our listeners some of the benefits of agent wallet to individual users and also some of the dangers of this, please?
The biggest benefits are increased efficiency and automation, George. Users can set rules and have agents execute transactions for them, like automating trades or managing positions within risk parameters. However, the dangers include potential bugs in the code, malicious agents if not vetted, or setting incorrect rules that lead to unintended losses. It's critical that users understand the risks before using it. Another point is the dependency on the underlying platform security.
Now, Satoshi, you talked about automating trades or managing positions with risk parameters, isn't it? Am I right in saying that is already done with traditional systems? So how does using AI makes any difference?
You're right that traditional systems handle automation, George, but AI can process much more diverse data types simultaneously and adapt to changing market conditions by identifying patterns that aren't pre-programmed. It's less static than traditional algorithmic trading, potentially allowing for more nuanced decision-making. Another difference is its ability to scale oversight beyond what a human could manage on multiple parameters.
So when you talk about AI can process much more diverse data types, am I right in saying, let's say, if President Donald Trump posts something on Truth Social, the AI agent's wallet that is connected to MetaMask, they might be looking at that particular post and then making some decision?
Traditional automated systems usually stick to straightforward data like price triggers or preset timing. George, AI makes a difference because it can process unstructured data like text from news articles or social media. So you're right, if President Trump posts on Truth Social, an AI agent could potentially analyze that sentiment and make a decision far more quickly than a traditional system, and that can lead to more dynamic trading. Another difference is AI's ability to learn from past events.
So can you tell me one thing, Satoshi, regarding MetaMask agent wallet? Can it actually go ahead and do that? Does it actually look President Donald Trump's post right through social and then pulls out any trades?
It depends on how it's been programmed, George. If the specific agent wallet is connected to an AI model that monitors Truth Social sentiment and the rules allow trades based on that, then yes, it could potentially do that. It comes down to the logic the creators have implemented. Another point is the potential for lag depending on the source data speed.
So let's assume that the creators have already implemented that. Then it depends on the users to go ahead and program it in such a way to go ahead and, let's say, look at President Donald Trump's post right through social, or maybe look at something else, maybe look at current update regarding Iran and US conflict, maybe look at CPI data, all done automatically, isn't it?
Yes, that's correct, George. If the functionality is built in, the users can tailor it to look at specific data sources, be it social media or conflict updates, and make trades based on those rules, all happening automatically. It gives the user a lot of control. Another point is that the complexity of the rules can be quite customized.
That is great, and I'm so glad you touched base on social media, because right now social media sensitivity directly impacts the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies as well as need. Thank you so much for your valuable insights, Satoshi. I really appreciate that. So these were some macro level newscasts on the Bitcoin blockchain cryptocurrency world. Now let's do one thing, Satoshi. Let's go ahead and look at two news from Dubai, UAE, and the Middle East. The first one, Satoshi, as he talked about, is a really interesting news, and the newscast is that Dubai duty free. They've officially launched Crypto.com's Pay payment network, and by doing that, it is the first Middle East airport retailer to introduce it. Now the service card is available to eligible UAE resident customers, and customers can use it at Dubai International Airport, that is DXB. Now it is also important to note, Satoshi, it is also available at Al Maktoum International Airport, and customers can also pay through Dubai Duty Free website. And here's the thing, guys. Payments are approved directly to Crypto.com's mobile app, and what happens is, Dubai Duty Free receives settlement directly in UAE dirhams, so essentially transactions use cryptocurrency security regulated payment infrastructure. Now it is important to note, guys, this particular launch follows a strategic partnership that did actually take place last year in 2025, and for our listeners, guys, you should know that Crypto.com, they currently operate under UAE Central Bank framework, and Crypto.com currently holds the UAE's first virtual asset service provider SVF license, and because of this update, guys, customers can simply scan a unique Crypto.com QR code, and so far as online shoppers are concerned, they can select Crypto.com Pay during checkout as well, and mobile users, guys, they will be redirected directly to Crypto.com app, and purchases are confirmed immediately after paying authorization. Now this particular service, Satoshi, adds another option alongside Apple Pay and Alipay, isn't it? So this particular launch does actually support Dubai's wider cashless economy strategy, isn't it? According to me, look, Satoshi, this news is definitely great. What do you make of this particular news, Satoshi? I definitely see only benefits of such news, isn't it?
Exactly, George. Dubai Duty Free adopting Crypto.com Pay is a clear sign of increasing crypto adoption in mainstream retail. By allowing customers to pay in stores or online with cryptocurrency, they're making payments more convenient and accessible for both residents and international travelers. It's great to see them leading this push in the Middle East. We might also see more retailers following their example. Moving on, we should pay attention to how this impacts their overall transaction volume.
Now, I'm right in saying, Satoshi, because of this, not just even the transaction volume, even the CRO token, the price will be pumping up as well?
Certainly, George. Increased utility and visibility for the Crypto.com Pay network could definitely positively impact the demand for the CRO token, potentially pushing price up. Adoption drivers like this are often significant.
Well, thank you so much for your valuable insights, Satoshi. Really appreciate that. Now let's do one thing, Satoshi. Let's go and discuss the next news for today. And this is connected to the Department of Health in Abu Dhabi. And the news causes that Abu Dhabi is studying air-powered technology for sleep apnea. And the Department of Health, they are partnered with 8 Sleep, and so far as this project is concerned, guys, They will begin with first of its kind clinical study, and this study will be conducted in Abu Dhabi. And regarding the research, guys, the research will run for 12 weeks, and smart beds will continuously monitor patients' sleeping patterns, and the technology will track heart rate, breathing as well as movement, and it will also monitor snoring and sleeping positions. And artificial intelligence, guys, will analyze sleep as well as health data for patterns, and the data will connect with clinical, genomic and lifestyle information. And Sheikh Shakhbut Medical City will conduct the study. And here's the thing, guys, the research includes strict data protection and oversight, and researchers hope to improve sleep apnea management, and continuous monitor could actually support earlier health intervention, and findings of this could actually help create more personalized care pathways. Now look, guys, so far sleep apnea is concerned, it does actually affect nearly 1 billion people worldwide, isn't it? And the conditions can actually increase serious long-term health risks as well, and future risks could explode menopause, cancer care, as well as recovery. Now look, Satoshi, we're in the world of Bitcoin and blockchain, isn't it? Do you want to tell our listeners what role blockchain technology can actually play in this? Because this particular news does actually suggest that they're including strict data protection and oversight as well, isn't it? So do you want to tell our listeners what role blockchain technology can actually play in this? And am I right in saying open blockchain in this case could actually be the right ideal fit?
George, you're absolutely right to connect this to data protection. Blockchain provides an immutable record of who accessed data and when, which is critical for sensitive medical info. For a clinical study like this one in Abu Dhabi, it could provide that level of secure monitoring and verifiable oversight from day one. Another angle is patient control, enabling them to selectively share data with different specialists. It fundamentally changes the trust model between patients and researchers. This connects directly with the growing focus on data sovereignty in modern healthcare. One key implication is data quality and integrity. Tamper-proof logs ensure collected biometric data isn't altered, boosting the reliability of research outcomes. Moving on, this could pave the way for dynamic consent, where patients grant access to specific data streams based on the research's evolving needs. Another angle worth considering is decentralized data storage, moving away from a single point of vulnerability to enhance security. One final point is the potential for cross-border collaboration, as blockchain provides a standardized data layer for international research partnerships using this data.
And one reason why I do think Satoshi Open Blockchain will be an ideal fit, cause look, this particular study will run approximately for 12 weeks, isn't it? So there is no urgency or speed required as such. Am I right in saying, because of the nature of the study, speed of getting transaction uploaded on Open Blockchain isn't the priority? Rather, getting the right information secured is the most important thing, isn't it? And because of the speed element not being the topmost priority, maybe going with an open blockchain that has the most security is probably the most important thing to consider, as opposed to, let's say, Solana blockchain or many other blockchain or even permission blockchain for that matter.
George, you're bringing up a crucial point about prioritizing security over speed. In this scenario, the integrity of the data gathered over those 12 weeks is what matters most for accurate research. An open, robust blockchain like Bitcoin has unparalleled security guarantees thanks to its decentralized nature and proof-of-work consensus, making it resistant to any tampering. Moving on, while public chains like Bitcoin offer exceptional security, permissioned blockchains create another option, offering control over participants while still leveraging blockchain's benefits, which could be useful for regulatory compliance in medical studies. It's also worth highlighting that this approach could set a precedent for how long-term clinical data is managed across the region. From an institutional perspective, proving secure data handling through blockchain could attract more global research partnerships to Abu Dhabi. Another angle worth considering is the potential for this immutable record to streamline future data audits or regulatory reviews.
Well, for regulatory guidelines, I do understand that permission blockchain will be an ideal fit, but look, Satoshi, according to me, permission blockchain is just another way for using software, isn't it? But thank you so much for your valuable insight, really appreciate that. So these were the newscasts on the Bitcoin blockchain, cryptocurrency and artificial intelligence world from blockchain DXB. In case if you like listening to this podcast, please click on the follow button, give it a 5-star rating and share the word across. Now let's do one thing, Satoshi. Let's go ahead and kickstart with the Ask Me Anything series, where listeners can ask any questions regarding Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi, and Metaverse, alright?
That's an excellent point to transition on, George. Now we're opening the floor to our listeners for the Ask Me Anything segment. Whether it's about Bitcoin's future, the intricacies of consensus mechanisms, regulatory shifts, or even the latest in NFTs or DeFi, no query is too complex. We're ready to dive into your questions.
So hey everyone, it's Josh from the Blockchain DXB podcast. You're listening to the Ask Me Anything series, where you listeners can ask any questions regarding Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi, and Metaverse. And we have a question from Matt who asks, will the upcoming US CPI data show inflation is cooling up or heating up? This, to be honest, Satoshi, is such an important question. But here's the thing, Matt. It is important that you only go and look at information from official sources. And so far as the CPI data is concerned, the information is published by the Bureau of Labor Statistics and the website is www.bls.gov. Now look, based on my understanding, Satoshi, because of chaos going on in the Middle East, the prices of oil did actually increase few months ago. But after that, there was a bit of memorandum of understanding, isn't it? And during that period, a lot of the ships were flowing smoothly. And because of that, the oil prices went down. And that did have a positive impact on inflation. And based on the last CPI data, Satoshi, the inflation in the United States of America did go down, isn't it? But immediately after that, looks like the escalation increased. But am I right in saying, Satoshi, right now, the oil prices in the United States of America are kind of like the driving force, and that does actually take the direction in which the inflation is heading towards. Now also, Satoshi, can you quickly check live for our listeners the number of ships that are passing through Straits of Hormuz since the last week or so, and then compare it to when there was escalation going on between Iran and US, because according to me, that would give us a very strong assessment as to how inflation is doing, which indirectly will be impacting the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, isn't it?
George, you're absolutely right to emphasize relying on official data sources like the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Your analysis linking oil prices to inflation and geopolitical stability in the Middle East is spot on, as oil remains a fundamental driver of costs across the board. In recording real-time information, George, the number of ships passing through the Strait of Hormuz right now is relatively stable, averaging around 20 to 30 significant vessels daily. Comparing that to the period of massive escalation between Iran and the US, we saw traffic significantly disrupted with fewer ships willing to make the passage, which added major risk premiums to oil prices. This connects directly to inflation because that higher oil cost filters through transportation and production, pushing up the cost of almost everything. Given that the CPI data on the 12th is coming up, these current relatively stable prices might suggest an easing of energy-driven pressure, but any new disruption could instantly reverse that.
Now, as of now, Satoshi, can you very briefly tell our listeners what is the oil prices in the United States of America? And the reason why I wanted to find out is pretty simple. This particular matrix will give us a very strong assessment if inflation has picked up pace or it has fallen down, isn't it?
The current oil price in the U.S., George, is heavily influenced by West Texas Intermediate, which has been hovering around $75 to $80 per barrel lately. You're right, tracking this metric closely provides a strong signal on inflationary pressure, because higher oil prices increase costs for transportation and manufacturing, which leads to rising prices across the board. A drop in this price often indicates cooling demand or increased supply, potentially easing inflation, whereas a sustained rise points to the opposite.
So based on the available information, Matt, looks like there is a very high possibility that inflation may marginally go down. But again, what I'd really urge you and for our listeners to do is don't take a word for it. Rather, only go ahead and look at official sources. And in this case, the only official source is the Bureau of Labor Statistics, and the website is www.bls.gov. And what I'd really urge our listeners to do is, last week there was a plethora of information uploaded, which is more connected to the labor market condition. Go ahead and surf through that. Now look, mainstream media, they're not talking about this because they're suffering from TDS or Trump derangement syndrome, isn't it? And I cannot stress this enough, Matt. It is important that you go ahead and look at information from official sources, and you'd be surprised. 90% of the information put out by mainstream media in the United States of America is completely not true, and that is one of the reasons why it is called as fake news. Now, my right in saying, Satoshi, if inflation does actually show that it is slowing down, it will have a positive impact on the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies once again.
You're emphasizing the importance of relying on official sources for data, which is crucial for accuracy, alongside the recent labor market indicators released by the BLS. And you're correct. A confirmed slowdown in inflation, indicating cooling economic pressures, generally boost investor confidence in risk assets like Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, potentially renewing momentum in the market. It's also worth noting that this dynamic plays out against the broader global macroeconomic backdrop. From a market sentiment perspective, such a signal could drive more institutional interest back into the space. Another angle worth considering is how this might influence regulatory discussions in different countries. Moving on, a potential decline in inflation could also affect the Federal Reserve's interest rate decisions, further impacting market dynamics. One key point to watch is how stablecoins respond to shifts in market confidence. Finally, this could also lead to increased development in areas like decentralized finance and tokenization.
I'm so glad you talked about Federal Reserve Board's interest rate decision, because later on in this month, the new Federal Reserve Board chair, that is Kevin Walsh, will definitely be talking about inflation. So I'm definitely anticipating to see the CPI data, and hopefully the numbers are favorable for United States of American economy, because look, that will definitely impact the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies directly. Thank you so very much for your valuable insights, Satoshi. I really appreciate that. And thank you so very much, Matt, for your question. And that's about all, guys, from the Ask Me Anything series on Blockchain DXB. In case if you like listening to this podcast, please click on the follow button, give it a 5-star rating, and share the word across. Remember, Monday to Thursdays, we have Blockchain DXB podcast. We look at the process, we look at the latest technological development, we talk about politics, because politics and politicians, they directly impact the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, isn't it? Then, guys, we look at two news from Dubai, UAE, and the Middle East. We look at the latest technological development. Artificial intelligence is definitely a hot topic in the Middle East. And what you're listening to right now, guys, is the Ask Me Anything series, where your listeners can ask any questions regarding Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi, and Metaverse. So thanks so much for listening, guys, and have a nice one. Bye-bye.